Did this show ever exist, or was that like a fever dream I had? Because when I was a kid, I would wake up in the morning drowsy, turn on the TV, and see an American anime. At least I think it's an anime. I don't really know what the rules are there. Is Kappa Mikey an anime? It was marketed as the first anime to be produced entirely in the United States. Today I'll be showing you Kappa Mikey, America's first ever anime. Citation needed. No matter how you feel about this show, I think we can all agree that the intro is banging as fuck! But Mikey isn't just on vacation, he has a very good reason to be in Japan. Kappa Mikey is an anime about a group of actors who work on a Japanese animation. It's weird, I know. They act on an anime named Lilymoo, which has dying ratings, probably because it's just a shitty version of Power Rangers, and so the showrunners run a scratch card contest to find a new star for it. Enter American actor Mikey Simon, who wins the contest and moves to Japan to take the role. The first thing you'll notice is that Mikey himself is not an anime character. In fact, he looks more like Larry Cooper from Nickelodeon's Kablam. In this show, nationalities are expressed through art style, America being Western cartoons and Japan being anime. By starring a Western actor, Lilymoo quickly soars back up in ratings thanks to what is really just a weak jump the shark stunt. However, Kappa Mikey isn't about Lilymoo. Rather, the show is about the off-camera life of the show's actors. Unlike most contemporary anime, and no, I'm not pretentious for using that word, most 2005 anime was like this, Kappa Mikey is episodic rather than following a connected story, so most episodes can be watched in pretty much any order. Standard story structure goes something like this. Mikey messes up during a Lilymoo scene, gets faced with a conflict preventing him from acting well, and must spend the rest of the episode overcoming that conflict. Once he does, he can do the scene correctly. You can interchange Mikey with other characters, but generally it's going to be around him. The show itself has a very slice-of-life approach to the formula. Settings are very rarely bombastic or budget-pushing, but they use Japan as an opportunity to make references to anime and Japanese culture, which makes up a lot of the show's personality. Story-wise, there's only one thing that holds the show back. Mikey's literally fucking retarded! Number 1, Mikey is a terrible actor. We know this because the show tells us that he's a terrible actor.
You can't act!
Number 2, Mikey is a terrible friend, often taking full advantage of them for his own gain.
You sold us out to the papers?
I'm so sorry, guys. I panicked when Mr. Suzuki said he'd publish a photo of my pimple.
So instead, you gave him terrible photos of all of us!
Seems so bad when you say it like that.
Number 3, Mikey is a terrible human being, often making the conflict twice as bad as it could have been.
Ah, no big deal. I'll just even out the other side.
Other main characters include Mitsuki.
Does my name almost rhyme with something?
I forget your name.
It's
Whoa, is that a dog?
She's an optimistic voice of reason who, for whatever fucking reason, is attracted to Mikey. Alongside Mitsuki is Lily.
Finally! Things are gonna change around here.
Previous star of Lilymoo, she's a fiery, tragic past tsundere, but we'll call her exactly what she really is. A bitch! Gonard is Mikey's best friend, playing the intelligent main villain of Lilymoo, but being a lovable oaf off camera.
In case I get attacked by hunger.
You can't save them both, Mikey Simon!
He's pretty much Sonic Boom Knuckles. Guano is the cute animal sidekick of the show, but this trope is subverted by the fact that he's also an overworked and mistreated show writer, actor, and director.
You've got to run away!
Do something! He's gonna kill you!
Benson...
Fire!
I'm sorry. Ozu is the owner of Lilymoo Studios and the producer of the show. He's a chaotic, neutral boss who will often put his actors in uncomfortable scenarios for the sake of his own agenda. Sidekick to Ozu is Yes Man. He has nearly no identifiable traits whatsoever other than screaming at all times. These make up the core characters of the show, but interestingly, most of them are voiced by anime dubbers. Mitsuki's voice actress had previously voiced Mokuba from Yu-Gi-Oh!
And now we're together again, Seto.
She also voiced Mami Tomo and Satsuki Kiryuin, and I'm super fucking stoked about it! Guano's voice actor had previously voiced Koro from One Piece.
Don't get all cocky just because you snapped off one of my cat claws!
Lily's voice actor had previously voiced Kiki Benjamin from Tokyo Mew Mew.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I'm being extra careful with them.
Gonard's voice actor had previously voiced, and this one should be obvious, Ojama Yellow from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
I'm no good at math,
But seeing's my strong suit.
Also Goku!
Even Mikey's voice actor has an acting catalog ranging from Full Metal Alchemist to Yu-Gi-Oh! To Shaman King, to Demon Fighter to Nano 7 to Samurai Deeper to Domain of Murder, to my favorite anime of all time. Mikey himself isn't even an anime character, and they still got a dub actor for him. Because the show is episodic, there's very little development in terms of story, and while they'll do minor things like having characters move or date, it all ultimately reverts back to its original state at the end of the episode and stays in story limbo for the duration of its 2-season run. The decision to make the show episodic was never explicitly stated, but given how the show is made for an American preteen demographic, it's safe to assume that this was chosen so it would fit more alongside other cartoons of its time. And considering how well Avatar and Teen Titans did,
I would say was a mistake.
so the story is nothing to write home about, but let's move on to the production quality, which is also nothing to write home about. The show is ugly as fuck, not visually pleasing, usually treading the line between adequately anime and low-budget school doodles. It feels like they never locked down an art direction, leading to a collage of various art styles, which may work in its favor for pointing out anime cliches, but for a foreign demographic like 2006 Americans, it probably did more harm than good. The art style does not make the show unwatchable, but it does make it feel less like an anime-themed cartoon and more like an anime-themed Newgrounds parody. The show also uses CGI for robots and mechs, and given that it's used to mock anime cliches, I'm not bothered by it, but the low resolution of the show often gives off a very uncanny feeling. It also abuses sound effects more often than Johnny Test does, to the point of annoyance.
Pretty mystical, huh? This has chamomile?
I don't know if this was to make it more like a normal cartoon, but it makes it wear thin very quickly. A lot of this improved into the second season, but only marginally, and by that point it was on the end of its lifespan anyways. A lot of the show feels like the creators wanted to do more, but they didn't have the budget for it, so they had to settle. Because it's episodic, the show's writing centers a lot around dialogue and slapstick humor. Joke quality ranges from witty visual gags to lowbrow fart jokes, but usually remaining fairly consistent throughout an episode. There's a lot of jokes that would probably go over a kid's head, which is good for the parents who would watch it with their kids, but because there's no continuity and the character dynamics are actually just character statics, it's hard to justify going back and watching it alone, especially as a 20-year-old man. A lot of the conflicts happen because of plot convenience, and I just realized they used the term plot convenience unironically while trying to prudently dissect the writing of a kid's cartoon. Fuck! I could go on explaining the story, but there's really not much else to it. A 2008 DVD of the first full season was advertised, but nothing ever came of it, and sometime after, Kappa Mikey was cancelled for good. In my research, I couldn't find a definitive reason why, but it's a fair guess that it was due to low popularity. The final episode of the series is a Wizard of Oz parody named The Wizard of Ozu.
Oh, I get it.
It's a regular side story episode, which makes me think they didn't expect to get cancelled. It's a shame the show got no true send-off and ended with no closure whatsoever, but to be fair, there was very little closure to be had. For all the things the show had done, I feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities. What about an episode where the cast travels to America and we get to see a reverse dynamic of the show's theme? Americans could find Mitsuki and Lily over-sexualized and there'd be an overarching moral about orientation in a children's cartoon. What about an episode where Mikey has plastic surgery and it turns him into an anime character? Mikey would have to come to terms with the crippling realization that his physical appearance is the only thing people like about him, and we could have a season-long arc about his manic depression. Kappa Mikey was a show marketed and made for kids, but because anime was still far from the mainstream during its run, the show never managed to grab a large following. Lots of questions will be forever unanswered. Did Mikey and Mitsuki hook up? Is Guano secretly a midget in a furry costume? Did Lily ever stop being a bitch? We'll probably never find out since the show was cancelled. People have tried to petition for its return, but nothing's come of it yet. It's been radio silent from the creator Larry Schwartz, aside from occasionally reposting memes. This show is my definitive, it's so stupid, it's hilarious shows. It knows every joke it makes is retarded, so it basically blows it out the window.
You chumps don't stand a chance! Ha! Ha ha!
Lily, you betrayed us.
I don't believe it. How could you?
Get back here with me, ship!
Nothing those suckers can do now.
Let's chase him with the faster ship! Arrgh.
Am I high right now?
I'll get it. Hello?
Gone by dawn.
I don't think he lives here anymore.
What the fuck is this show? If you want to go watch this show now, you're gonna have a tough time because it's not really available for streaming anywhere. There are some places you can find it, but I don't really know where. That's not for me to decide. So I'm gonna give this show a very generous 6 out of 10. Just high enough that this technically isn't a meh video. This has been my review of what TV Guide calls
The first ever American anime, and a cool one, too!